Boss Man D'Lo said, I was hungry for some cash. Kick some doors in. All right, man. It's been a long time coming. We're going to make this intro short. We have the Nike Pegasus Plus. It is Nike week. And I've told you this before. When we got the Adizero SL2 here, if I can't be first with a shoe, and I'm not always first because I don't have the best PR relationships. If I can't be first, I'm going to be best. So what I decided to do this week is cover every single Nike running shoe available. We've even gone back in time. We covered the original Pegasus Turbo, the predecessor to this shoe, the one that has made Nike reach back, as I said the other day, into the annals of history and reinvigorate the modern day product. And Nike has been missing a little bit of zhuzh, a little bit of pop, a little bit of that je ne sais quoi from their lineup. And that's what they're looking to do with the Pegasus Plus here. This is one of my favorite categories of running shoes. I know we're talking a lot about the maximum cushion GANG, but I have loved some of these lighter weight, fast speed training shoes. And in 2023, I put a lot of miles on them. Rebel V3 was my favorite shoe. So with that, guys, let us get into the Pegasus Plus. Let's see if it can hang with the big dogs. Let's see if it can really kick some doors in. Bang. All right, so Nike Pegasus Plus. We had to bring the big dogs out this morning. We had to bring out all the whips, line them up, get those engines revving, wipe them down, have the rims sparkling. That's what we have to do this morning for the Pegasus Plus, because Pegasus Plus is trying to make a statement. That's what this shoe is about in 2024. Nike is trying to come back, and like Boss Man D'Lo, kick in the doors of the game, come with a competitive product, give the market something that it's been missing since the days of Bang, the epic React 2 from 2019, 2020, from the days of the Nike Pegasus Turbo OG. Nike has lost its way a little bit. This is what we've been talking about this entire week. I've still enjoyed their shoes like the Vomero 17, the Invincible 3, the Alpha Fly, but in the standard training segment, and in the speed training segment, they're not the brand that a lot of us hobby joggers are going for. And over the past few years, you can see the evolution here. Let me just line these up by date here. You can see the evolution. And this is kind of the direction the market has gone. Look, boom. 2018, 2019, Peg Turbo OG. Nike had an awesome lightweight, low stack speed training shoe / daily trainer in the Epic React 2 here. This was one of my favorite running shoes of all time. One of my first running shoes, actually, before I put 700 miles on a pair of Ultra Boost. I had this as a casual shoe, a gym shoe, some occasional jogging. I wasn't huge into running when I got the shoe, and I actually ran a marathon in this shoe earlier this year, just around my neighborhood, to see how it stacked up. And this is still a great foam. This might be one of the best Nike foams of the past few years. And by the way, editor's correction here. I said that the Peg Turbo OG was 100% ZoomX. That is not true, as so many of my editor's assistants were kind to point out in the comments. This is a combination of Epic, React, and ZoomX. React and ZoomX. This is 100% of the React. Awesome foam. This shoe felt a lot like the Rebel V4. It's just, I'd put a lot of use on it. You could see we completely beat the road on this, as Boss Man D'Lo would say. Tore the caboodles off of the poodle here on the bottom of the foam. But awesome foam, similar to the current generation Fuel Cell. It's light, it's peppy, one of the best uppers. I got a ton of use. I used to just throw this in the back of my old Jeep, and whenever I needed a pair of sneakers when we were hiking afterwards, I would throw this on. So this was 2019, 2020 Epic React 2. Then it got axed by Nike, and this is where we see the market shifting to other brands. The Hoka Mach 4, Mach 5. This is my pair of Mach 5s from last year. I put 300 miles on this thing. And I ran in it a few months ago, or earlier this year, and it still had some life left. So I know Hoka gets criticized a lot for the durability, But this shoe had decent durability for me. One of the best training foams out there, this top layer of supercritical EVA, the ProFly Plus, and then you get a nice rocker here. And that's one of the things that Nike has been missing across a lot of their shoes is this rocker profile. It's a more modern way to design a shoe. Look at this. Look how that just rolls compared to something like the Epic React, which is a little more flat. So this is the Mach 5. Mach 4 came out, what was it, 2021 maybe? Not exactly sure, but this started eating the lunch of Nike in the lightweight and fun everyday segment. Same thing with the New Balance Rebel. A lot of people like the original Rebel and the V2. This is the V3. This was actually my shoe of the year in 2023. And I had a commenter, my friend Jonathan, one of the OG supporters on this channel. Not even kidding. He was one of the first guys to get a hobby jogger hat too. He has one of the original trucker hobby jogger hats. That's my guy, Jonathan Hand. Shout out to Jonathan. He said, dude, you should do a revisit of the Rebel V3, see if you still like it because you've been running all those maximum cush shoes. And that's a great idea. But the reason I love this shoe, look at this. It's lightweight, the foam is soft, and it's very flexible while giving a ton of bounce. So it combined a lot of the elements I like of higher cushion shoes with the modern foam, with the bounce. This is a great foam, the past generation of Fuel Cell. I actually prefer this version of Fuel Cell to the current version of Fuel Cell that New Balance uses in the Rebel V4 and SC Trainer V3. So this was my go-to shoe last year for a lot of half marathon workouts, for speed training days at the track, and nothing in the Nike lineup until now has really been able to compete with it. And then last shoe here, current favorite, current reigning champ in the fun everyday speed segment 2024. You guys already know, Adidas Adizero SL2. This thing has the race foam. So similar to the original Pegasus Turbo, which was a combination of React and ZoomX, which I was able to learn from all my editor's assistants, similar to the Hoka Mach 5, which also uses the dual foam. This is not a race foam. It's a fun training foam with a firmer training foam on the bottom. This guy here has a wrapped, firmer training foam with the softer race foam. One of the most versatile shoes I've ever tried. It's comfortable, it's soft, but also bouncy. Can do everything from 23-mile long runs to 450 pace, 100-meter repeats. I've done everything in this shoe. If I had to pick one shoe for the rest of the year, it would probably be this. I want to say Hoka Skyward X, but I feel weird about running in plated shoes and 50-millimeter shoes every day, so it would probably be this. So I put a lot of miles across these shoes here, 100-something miles on the SL2, I think 260 miles on the Rebel V3, 310 miles on the Mach 5, probably 200 miles on the Epic React 2, 6 miles on the Peg Turbo OG, because I just got this recently to test. So I have a lot of experience in this lightweight bouncy category, and I am eager to see how the Peg Plus will do. I said this was going to be a short intro. Nah, I lied. Man, bro was all up in the comments talking about I lost credibility for the lightweight speed training shoes. Had to hit him with the 101. Bang! All right, man, I had no idea what colorway we were going to have. This is 100% a bang-worthy colorway. This might be the best colorway of the Nike Peg Turbo. And man, okay, so believe it or not, I actually did not open the box. I've had this box sitting here for, I don't know, a week or two. Nike sent it to me, I don't know, last week, but they were in no rush to send it to me, so I was in no rush to review it, and I wanted to do the full overview of the Nike lineup and contextualize it and also educate myself. That was part of the reason why I ran in the Peg Turbo OG. I wanted to educate myself on the properties of the shoe, what made the shoe so good, and also why did this shoe exist as a legend in the minds of the hobby jogger community. So what my experience running in the shoes really did not matter at all, and the reason a lot of you liked it was the same reason that I liked the Mach 5, because prior to running in the Mach 5, I was running in Saucony Endorphin Shift 3, Saucony Endorphin Speed 3, Ultra Boost. Nothing was as light and peppy as this shoe with as much fun and comfort. And for the time, that's what a lot of people enjoyed about the Peg Turbo OG. So I'm glad I did this review. By the way, people were upset that I didn't recognize that the colorway looked like a bowling shoe. And you guys are right, man. This does. I thought it was just New York Knicks, but you're right. It's New York Bowlers. That was terrible. I apologize. And look at this. By the way, they went back. Talk about annals of history. They pulled the same exact. Let's see if we can get a good view of this. They pulled the same exact. Is this pink? Let me see. Yeah, that color really pops with that. They pulled the same exact pinkish color. I don't even know if it's pink or red, but from the OG, you can see the X on the Zoom X. They pulled that through to this launch colorway of the Pegasus Plus here. So it's called the Pegasus Plus. It's also the Pegasus Turbo 3. You can see on the bottom here, they say Pegasus Turbo right there. This colorway is so clean. I'm just marveling at it. And I've been saying this the whole week, and the reason why I'm giving Nike a spotlight week on the channel is because I love Nike as a brand. As a kid growing up in America, this was the brand. As a kid playing basketball, this was the brand of shoes that I wanted to wear. Nike is the cool brand. My sister played basketball at Villanova, and all of her stuff was Nike, and that's just what we liked. And I think for a lot of people, especially if you grew up in the time that I did, if you grew up in the 90s or 2000s, it represents Jordan. It represents LeBron. It represents Serena Williams. And they've been coasting on the history and the legacy of the brand, not just in basketball, but in running. And I think in general right now, they're getting a little bit on the back foot and letting the history do the work for them. But Peg Plus here, it looks like it's combining some elements of what was great from them historically with more modern technology. So it still says ZoomX here. The thing about the brands and the foam names, you can't believe them. It doesn't matter what they call the foam. I don't know what this is. It's probably some sort of a PIBA EVA blend, if I had to guess. There's no way this is 100% PIBA. Let me tell you that right now. Nike can hit me with the libel lawsuit if they want, but I'm going to mess around, get this lab tested. I guarantee you it is not 100% PIBA in this shoe right here. So it's some sort of a race foam blend. Also, man, this colorway is really popping. This is a great colorway. But modern foam, you get a higher stack. And take a look at these side by side. A little bit more stack in the forefoot, a lot more stack in the back here than the original version. Just take a look at these side by side again. You can see a tiny bit more width, but overall design and aesthetic is pretty similar. They did go with a good amount of padding in the back here to make this more of a daily trainer feel versus just a speed training shoe. So in the Pegasus Turbo 2, they went with a stripped down upper, almost similar to what was in the Epic React here. And by the way, look, very similar pinkish orange color in the Epic React. I think there's a little bit more red in the Epic React, but similar vibe. But yeah, the Peg Turbo 2 had this lightweight upper here. Pegasus Plus, more of a daily in the spirit of what we might see in the Adizero SL2. Taking a look at these side by side, SL2. Man, the SL2's upper is just great. A little bit more flexible, a little bit lighter weight. Nike's has a little bit more structured heel counter. This might come in at a heavier weight. We'll see. Then taking a look at the bottom here, you get great rubber coverage. Again, that pink coming through. And man, even if this shoe doesn't run well, the design of it is so striking. This is just a classic Nike. This looks like a collector's item. This launch colorway is so good. I've said it probably 3 times, but I just love the way that it looks. And I think that's the reason a lot of us like running shoes as a hobby. It's not just the technology, it's the design, it's the aesthetics, it's everything that goes into it. And this is a complete banger of a colorway. This is dad drip certified 100%. Catch me pulling up to the Starbucks in the Pegasus Plus with a little neon pink. Bang! The thing is, though, few elements here that are questionable. One, the padding. Is that going to add some additional weight that's unnecessary? Maybe. It could also add some comfort. 2, this little strip here, that is purely for aesthetics. It's going to add weight. I also just don't know how it's going to feel on the top of the foot. Is it going to add additional warmth for no reason? Kind of a little bit of a weird touch. They could have just done what they did in the original Pegasus Turbo here, which was just, it's some sort of a, what is it called? A screen printed material versus this is a thick fabric strip right there. So that's a little bit of a weird design decision. And then the last thing is we'll just have to see how the toe box does. It looks like it has that little bit of that classic Nike narrowness again, which is unfortunate, but I'm sure they'll make this in wide as Nike does. And then the last thing, the price is absurd. $180. You have got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. $180 versus very similar shoe, Adidas Adizero SL2, $130. Rebel V3 from last year and the V4 this year, $140. The Hoka Mach 5 and Mach 6, $140. So I'm not exactly sure what it's like what On does, and because Nike is a cooler brand, they can get away with it. I just wish that they would price their shoes a little bit more competitively, and I wish that they would get into specialty running stores to connect with hobby joggers. Both Nike and Adidas do this in America. They aren't in a lot of the local running stores. They don't make as much of an effort to connect with the hobby jogger community, and I get it. They have their sponsored athletes. They have their elites. They're at all the majors. But just get your stuff into Run for Your Life in the local running stores. It'll make a big difference, shift in the narrative. And it's not just about where they're sold, but listening to the consumers in general. Both of these two brands, I think the bigger brands, once you get to a certain size, you have different product teams, you have different silos. It gets harder to incorporate feedback from the consumers quickly. You have the corporate edicts coming down. It's more about what management says versus the soul of the people. So I understand the challenges that are going on. But man, this does look like a competitive shoe despite all of the difficulties Nike has faced. I am optimistic that we're going to finally get a good one. It's just $180 when you have a shoe like the SL2 for $140. Not even $140, $130. That's a little bit of a tough sell. I don't think that this little ZoomX that they screen printed on the side of a Piba EVA blend justifies that $50 premium, but we shall see. All right, weighing in the Pegasus Plus. This is the moment of truth, not because weight is everything, but because Nike needs to show that their technology is competitive in this segment. So let's see how they've done here. Woo! Woo, man. Oh, man. 272 grams. I'm not even gonna pull on any of these other shoes down here to weigh. Let me go grab another shoe inside. So here's the thing. I love the look of this shoe. I love what Nike stands for. I love and can appreciate the history and the legacy and what the swoosh means. But this is also a performance channel, and we got to hold these brands accountable. So 272 grams in the Pegasus Plus, that is completely disrespectful. Look at this. Asics Nova Blast 4, 282 grams, 10 grams heavier than the Pegasus Plus. You get a lot more comfort, you get a lot more support at roughly the same weight, 10 grams heavier. And I'm telling you right now, this foam in the Nova Blast is probably not going to be as bouncy as what we get in the ZoomX, but look at the amount of foam, and it's not all about the weight, but it's just one of those areas where once you get to a certain level, it seems like we're not putting a focus on putting forth an innovative product. Okay, another example here, Puma Deviate Nitro 2, and also thinking about price, $160. This is 284 grams. So again, about 10 grams heavier than the Pegasus Plus. You get a carbon plate in this shoe. You get the race foam. It is extremely versatile, also very durable, and one of the grippiest outsoles out there, which is another issue that Nike, at least on the trail side and on the road side, has gone back and forth on. but $20 cheaper with the plate, with the race foam, a little bit heavier, but bringing more technology at a lower price point, similar with the Nova Blast here. And then the last one, and I know the target buyer of the Pegasus Plus is not going to be the target buyer of the Platypus 5000s here, but look at this. 253 grams for a much bigger stack height, 100% of the race foam here. This is all polyether black amide in the Topo Spectre 2. It's a chunky monkey. It rips. I put down a 22-mile training day in it, and it was awesome. So you're going to get the protection here. You're going to get the bounce. You're going to get the pop. It's not a direct competitor to the Nike Pegasus Plus here, but this one is, I believe it's $165. Don't remember off the top of my head. It's definitely not $180. It's either $160 or $165. You're getting more foam. You're getting more stack. You're getting a more comfortable upper. Oh, I don't know if it's more comfortable, but a wider upper here, which is what a lot of the market has been requesting from Nike. Can you just widen those toe boxes out a touch? So we have not run in the Pegasus Plus yet. We got to get this on foot. But price matters, and the ride experience does matter, of course. That is probably the most important thing that I think about when reviewing a shoe. But the price and these specs are also important. So one last thing here. Adidas Adizero SL2. This is also coming in the 250s, 258. And then if we look at a shoe like the Hoka Mach 5, even lighter at 229. And if I brought out the Brooks Hyperion 2, it would also be in the 220s. So this is what I'm saying. It looks sick, but we'll just have to see how it performs. And maybe one thing in Nike's favor, they are known for durability, so maybe we'll get some good durability. But 180, man, that is steep. All right, we have to run in these. I've been going on for way too long. Let's just run in them. Oh man, I forgot the QA check. Per usual. One last thing about the weight as we do the QA check on the other shoe. I know I'm going on and on about the weight, and you might be thinking, why does it matter? It matters because it's almost like Nike is not trying. Like they don't care about trying to be the best and beat the rest of the market. That's why it matters. I want to see Nike on that dog mentality, trying to put forth the lightest, fastest training shoe. And that's just not what they've done. They're pricing it at $180, and so far on paper, the specs are mid. That's why it matters, and that it's my role as a reviewer here. And man, this is 266 grams, and this is the issue. The other one was what, 272, and it's still heavy. But another example here of this is not, 6 gram difference, 6.5 gram difference. That's not great. That's not great. There's nothing inside here. So this is what I'm saying, man. It's the little things with these brands sometimes. And oftentimes you would think, and sometimes it is the smaller brands that aren't getting it right. But this is what happens when you're in the lead, when you're one of the OGs and you've been doing it for 20 years. You better watch your back because the young bucks are coming for your neck. Here's the thing. There's probably no other brand out there that I would dedicate a whole week to on the channel other than Nike, because they're the GOAT. They are the GOAT sportswear brand still. And I want to see them doing GOAT stuff. GOAT activities and putting forth the heaviest speed training shoe of 2024. That's not GOAT behavior. That's not GOAT behavior. That's washed behavior. Those are laundry activities. Man, it's disrespectful to the legacy. You got to come with the heat. You still have to compete because there are so many good shoes in this segment. Hoka Mach 6, I actually sent it off to one of my friends. I haven't even mentioned the Supwell app today. I got to get better at that. I told you I got to get better at being promotional. But I sent the Hoka Mach 6 off, traded it. I did a little Mach 6 plus Fast R Nitro 2 for an OG Primex Strung. It's probably a little bit more value on my side that I gave up. But the thing is, I have a lot of shoes, and I want to make people happy. So I hit him with the Mach 6 plus the Fast R Nitro 2. In return, I got the OG Primex Strung. We cleared waivers. We are all good. But that shoe also comes in at a much lighter weight. I think that's in the 220s or 230s. And it has the rocker. But stepping in here to the Nike Pegasus Plus. All right, on foot. It feels okay. The foam is not super soft. I think this is going to come alive when we run, but little walk test here. It is a comfortable shoe, perfect fit lengthwise in my 10.5. I have a little bit of space. The width is actually okay. My left foot is definitely wider than my right foot, and Saucony completely destroyed my left foot in 2022 when I was running in the Speed 3 and Shift 3 a lot and racing in the Pro 3. That completely destroyed the outside. I still have this burning spot right here whenever I lace up a slightly narrow shoe. So if you have a slightly wide foot, this is going to be a little bit wide, but I usually can get away with it. I'm guessing they're going to make this in wide if they don't already have it. On the right side, it's completely fine. I don't usually get that rubbing over here. So the fit is solid. The upper feels decent. It feels like a good daily trainer upper. So far, I don't feel any weirdness with the strip here. We'll have to see how it does on a longer run. The laces are nice. They don't look like we're going to have any trouble tying or untying them. And they laced up really well. This is a solid upper. Underfoot, though, this foam just feels fine. It feels fine. It doesn't feel super soft. It doesn't feel super firm. It is reminding me a little bit of the Adizero SL2 underfoot, though, in the squish. And I said this is probably a PIBA EVA blend. I actually think this is TP, one of the TPs. I'm not sure. I might have to mess around and get this lab tested, though. I want to start holding these brands to account. But the thing is, and I was talking about this with one of my friends from Running Warehouse, the brands never say that the foam is, like Nike has never said ZoomX is 100% PIBA in all of our shoes. They just call it ZoomX on the Invincible and the Vomero and the Pegasus Plus and the Alphafly and the Vaporfly. They say it's 100% PIBA, or they did say that probably 5 years ago when they first came out with it in the Vaporfly, and we're just filling in the blanks and assuming, okay, because they're slapping ZoomX onto the Invincible, it's the same compound. But these brands, the reason they get away with it, they say ZoomX is the ride experience or their top tier foam, but they never disclose exactly what's in the blend, and that's one of the things that I want to start doing, because it really gets under my skin that they call this foams the same thing when they're different. So I can tell you right now, this is not the same exact foam that's in the Vaporfly. It's a little bit firmer, not as much squish. When you step into the Vaporfly, that thing 100% compresses to the ground. It also feels a little bit even firmer than what's in the Invincible 3. So if you found the Invincible 3 too soft, this might be a little bit better. This is a comfortable shoe. I could walk around in this. It's not very rockered. The heel is comfortable. It's not the most narrow. It's not the widest. Pretty middle of the road running shoe in general. It feels like an elevated version of the Pegasus, which is exactly how they've named it, Pegasus Plus. But that seems like a $150 or $160 shoe, not a $180 shoe. So we'll have to see how this rides. Plan for the run. We are going to do 8 miles. Yesterday I got 21 miles. Today we're cutting it a little bit. Tomorrow we'll cut it again. And then Sunday long run. So just some good mileage this morning. See if I can crank it up. I don't know what the legs are going to have in them after a good week of mileage. But however fast we can go to test the Peg Plus, that's what we're going to do. I'm excited. I've been hard on the shoe because I expect a lot from Nike. And so far, it's just letting me down a little bit, especially with the $180 price point. And even as a Nike fanboy who's had multiple pairs of Air Forces and who owns Jordan 1 and who loves what the brand stands for, it's hard for me as a reviewer to gas up a $180 shoe when there's just so many better options out there. So I'm struggling right now. I feel like I've been a little bit hard on Nike in this shoe. But the price point, and this felt the same way about the Ultra Boost, the price point is just a little bit steep. But let's get these miles in, and if it blows me away, then it will be worth it. One more thing that I did want to show you. The Running Warehouse had this colorway that was complete heat. And this is why, Nike is, this is why they can get away with it. Look at that. Just complete flames. But $180 worth of flames, I don't know. Let's find out. All right, bouncing along in the Peg Plus here. Gotta pick my words carefully. Early overreaction. This is solid. My early overreaction is this is completely fine. I don't think this is gonna be a miss. It definitely doesn't feel like a dud. We get some good bounce. We get a little bit of ground feel, which is what you want if you're looking at a shoe like this. Has a nice streamlined feel to it. But it doesn't feel as exciting and explosive as the Mach 6 or the Hyperion 2 or the SL2 out of the gates. So I'm gonna see if I can crank it up here, really get it going, at least for a few minutes, if not a few miles, and we'll see how it does with some pace. But so far, this feels like a 140 shoe, not a 180 shoe. Oh man, shirt is coming off. We're in the in-between season. Legs are feeling solid. I think we can hit some 640s, maybe 630s in this. And this feels good. This does feel good for faster running right now. I'm liking it. Now let me dump this shirt. Ready? Bang, up your best. All right, mile 1, 6:53. And I've been thinking a lot this week and talking a lot this week about Nike's technology, their foams, what they're missing. This foam feels exactly like what they're missing and what I've been wanting from them. A little bit of a denser version of Zoom X. It's got pop. It feels like Light Strike Pro. It really does. The stability here is probably even better than the SL2. And it's not blowing me away, but that's not what you want out of this category of shoes. You just want something solid that you can push the pace in. That'll let you beat the roads. Like our friend Mr. Low. So 1 mile in, and I think this is gonna be a winner for me. We'll see how it evolves. It's just the price. It's a little bit absurd, but I'm gonna try to push that out of my mind for the rest of the run. Just focus on the ride experience and pretend it's a $140 shoe. mile to 6:48. So I think I have 6:50s and 6:40s in my legs this morning. But in classic Nike fashion, this is definitely a shoe where you gotta put something into it to get something out. It's not a shoe that's gonna give you a ton of bounce and speed assistance at relaxed paces because it doesn't have that rocker and it doesn't have the tallest stack of foam. So to activate it, and where it's feeling best for me is below 7 minutes per mile. So getting into my steady range, not yet into my race paces, but it wouldn't be my choice for a relaxed cruiser or a true daily option. All right, so I'm attacking some 6 flat pace up this hill here, and I feel like I'm getting pretty close to bottoming this thing out. At my fast paces, so marathon pace and faster, this thing is just completely compressing, especially under the forefoot. All right, we're between mile 3 and 4 here. Downhills and uphills for me do not feel good in this shoe. Anytime I'm trying to put down more power or gravity is forcing me to put down more power, shoe just feels like it can't stand up to my weight. But on the flats, as I'm running with a little bit of a quicker tempo, higher cadence, meaning I'm taking more steps, it feels really good. So it does still have that ZoomX property of, if you're gonna be a quick turnover runner, high cadence runner, popping off the ground with a gentler foot strike, gentler foot strike. That's the running style that this shoe right now feels that it suits best for me. Not my 168 BPM 550 pace, just completely trying to tear the road out of the ground. All right, mile 5, 6:26. The shoe is solid. It's good. If maybe a little, the foam just compresses a little much when I get down to 6 flat, but at 6:20s, it's solid. A good non-plated tempo option. It's just missing that demon time character that the Hyperions and the Alpha Fly give me. It's missing a little special sauce. Man, it's one of those mornings where my legs don't feel heavy or tired, but I'm trying to run harder and my watch is staying at the same pace. That's cumulative fatigue right there. We were maxing out at 6:20s and 6:30s. But that's all good because this actually feels pretty smooth to me right now. And this shoe is solid. It is solid. And before I forget, I wanted to say 3 things that Nike stands for before we get home, and I'll talk about these when we get home. Design, inspiration, and performance. That's what you're getting out of a Nike shoe. Let me break that down back at the crib. Yeah, walk it out, walk it out, walk it. What's that? Walk it out. Bang. Forget a garage sale, bro. Check out the Supwell app. Up your best. All right, we got bang, Kobe, 6:32 pace, 8 miles, 52 minutes and 24 seconds. Look at that. We got 2 of Kobe's numbers in there. 8, and then we got the 52:24. And I almost want to say I'm disappointed, But I'm not disappointed at all, because this is what I was expecting. It might have even been a little bit better than what I was expecting, but unfortunately my expectations were a little bit low. But man, you know what this reminds me of? Let me grab it. Hold on. And some of you might not even know that I have this one, but this is the Tracksmith Elliott Runner in a beautiful maroon colorway. It is, man, this colorway is beautiful. This might be one of the best looking performance running shoes ever designed. And it's not just a lifestyle shoe, the Elliott Runner. This thing can really perform, but $200 shoe. And what you're paying for, it's not the midsole foam, because this is 100% PIBA. But look at this. So is this chunky monkey, right? But what you're paying for in a shoe like the Tracksmith Elliott Runner versus the Topo Cyclone, think about which one is going to be better for workouts, which one is going to be more comfortable for time on feet, which one might be a better race day option if you want a non-plated PIBA. 100% this guy. But look at the colorway. Look at the design. Topo is not trying to be trendy. They're trying to be comfortable and give you something that looks like a performance running shoe, and they do a good job with that. Now, does their logo look like Erdogan certified it? Yes, that's not the point. Tracksmith, does this look like something you might see at Lawrence Academy, or Phillips Andover, or Phillips Exeter, or the Brooks School, or Petty, or Lawrenceville, or Rivers, or BB&N, or Nobles? Yes, that's exactly what this thing looks like. And that's what you're paying for out of the Tracksmith Elliott Runner, $200. So when thinking about the value to performance ratio, the price to technology ratio, if we then compare the Nike Pegasus Plus to the Tracksmith Elliott Runner, it doesn't become such a bad proposition after all. Look at this. Pretty similar designs. Now, this colorway is a little more of that neon inspiration. It has a little bit of the bolder Nike modern athletics spin on it, but it has that classic look. And the colorway that I showed you earlier on my phone on Running Warehouse, that white with the black, very, very Tracksmithy. So if we compare these two shoes, this might be the way to make the Pegasus Plus look best. This is the best light right here. These two shoes side by side. If you want me to convince you that the Pegasus Plus is a good buy, then just stop watching now, because everything else I say after this is gonna not convince you that. But if you want to just buy the Pegasus Plus, or you have already bought it and you want to feel good about that, this is the way to do that. Tracksmith Elliott Runner, $200. It's a solid shoe, but you're paying a $50 price premium for what it is, for the design, for the brand, for them pulling on that historical New England heritage. They literally say New England on the tongue right there, right? Pegasus here, they're doing the same thing on the Pegasus Plus. They're putting Pegasus Turbo on the bottom, pulling on that history. So both of these shoes going for that retro, old school, running heritage vibe. And if that's what gets you going, then the Pegasus Plus, especially in one of the more muted colorways, that's going to be a good solid buy at $180, especially if you want something to wear for lifestyle. But this is a performance channel, so let me tear into the shoe and tell you how it compares to all the shoes you can get for $40 cheaper. It's one of those days where in the shade it's cool, and then I come down to the street and it's hot. It's that time of year where you don't know how many layers to bring, what layers to bring. And the thing is, next week it's going to be up in the 90s again, but it's been pretty mild this week. It's been awesome for getting some faster pace. These 620s and 630s this morning felt so smooth because the temperatures are dropping, and if you've been running hard all summer, this is the time. It's like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and we're all little leprechauns when it comes to September and October, just feasting on the gold. I don't think the leprechauns eat the gold, but you guys know what I mean. So we got 8 miles in the Nike Pegasus Plus this morning, and the headline here is this is exactly performance-wise what Nike has been missing in their lineup for me, and this is what the regular Pegasus should be. This is a solid shoe. It's fun, it has some pep, it's decently lightweight when we think about Nike shoes because all of their shoes are heavy, and the Max Cushion shoe that we ran in yesterday, the Infinity Run 4, that is the heaviest shoe that I've put on the scale this year, 350 grams. So this came in at 260, 270, which is lighter than any of the other Nike daily trainers out there, and it feels like a workhorse daily trainer with a little bit more of a traditional, flexible forefoot, a little bit more ground feel, and also more pep. So if that's what you're looking for, if you're looking for a classic feeling daily trainer with modern materials, that's what you can get out of the Pegasus Plus. Now, what I want to do for this analysis is break it down in our classic and traditional way with the 3 questions. How does this shoe live up to its intended purpose? How does it compare to the category competitors? And how does it stack up to everything else on the market? So the intended purpose, lightweight, fast, fun, everyday running shoe. I'm not sure how many adjectives and if they matched up to my fingers, but it's looking to be a lightweight, fast, fun shoe. Does it accomplish that? Kind of. One other adjective I should add in is good looking, aesthetically pleasing. And that's what I was talking about when I was out there at the end of the run. Design, inspiration, and performance, the 3 things that Nike really stands for and what you're getting when you buy one of their shoes. And in 2024, on day 4 of Nike Week, it seems that that's the order of importance when they're developing products. Design first, then inspiration, thinking about the marketing and the storytelling, and then performance on the bottom. The design of this thing is great. The inspiration, hearkening back to the early days of track. It almost looks like they have a waffle outsole here, like they had on those Bowerman shoes back in the day of Pre and Pegasus 1. They're even putting a little Pegasus wing, those inspirational touches to make us feel like we're runners, like we want to lace up this shoe. And when I look at this shoe, it makes me want to go for a run. The design of it is awesome. The proportions are great. Even if you weren't a runner, I could see why you would buy this shoe and lace it up. So the design is there, the inspiration is there, but then it's that third quality that it seems Nike is putting it at priority level number 3, the performance. The performance is there as well, but then that leads into question 2. How does it compare to everything else in its category? And this is where we bring in price, $180 when you have shoes like the Mach 6 at $140, Rebel V4 at $140, Adizero SL2 at $130, Brooks Hyperion 2 at $140. It does not give the same performance as those shoes in the category, and it's $40 cheaper. So when we think about, or $40 more expensive, when we think about what we're paying for those $40, it is the design and it is the inspiration. You're paying $20 for the swoosh, you're paying $10 for the history and the legacy, and then you're paying another $10 because this foam is called ZoomX. And so if you are a Nike fan or you just like the way the shoe looks, it's going to be solid. You'll be able to run all your workouts in it. If you're gonna go take this to the track, running on maybe a little bit of a softer surface or doing intervals or fartlicks on a trail, this would be an awesome shoe. I'm sure the grip off-road will be pretty solid because of this waffle outsole. But when thinking about what else you could get for $40 cheaper, the value, strictly performance speaking, is not there whatsoever. It's not there at all. And at $180, you even start to get into the race shoe territory. You have shoes like the Adidas Takumi Sen at the same price point as this. A little bit of a similar feeling shoe with that narrow fit. The foam does take some time to break in. It's not one of my all-time favorite shoes or even my favorite speed training shoes right now, but if you're looking for a speed training shoe at $180 with some good grip and good durability, the Takumi Sen is sitting right there. And they have this black colorway on Running Warehouse right now. I'm not the biggest fan of black shoes, you guys know that, but if you like black shoes, the black with the orange and the pink is pretty slick. So at 180, it is just not there. Thinking about running performance, what is the running performance though? It's peppy and it's smooth and it has some ground feel. So if you're looking for a little bit more of that traditional connected feel with a flexible forefoot, this is one of the better options on the market. It's even more flexible than something like the Brooks Hyperion 2. That's a little bit firmer. This does compress a lot. And as I was saying out there, if you have a little bit of a higher cadence, maybe lighter on your feet, I do think you will like this a lot. And if you like shoes like the Rebel V3, I think you'll like this a lot. But the thing is, you can still find the Rebel V3 for sale right now at some places and on the Supple app. But no, you can find it for sale new at some places still for under $100 if you do some poking around. So what you're paying for versus the category competitors like the Mach 6, which has a better rocker, which has a bouncier foam. What you're paying for is the history, the legacy, and the design. The performance is good. I want to do some high mileage testing to see how it does for some time on feet, because there were a few times there when I was really giving it the gas, trying to go up hills, down hills, mashing, turn over the legs for some strides, and I could just not break 530 on those strides today. This is called cumulative fatigue when we get to this point during training where we've just been stacking high mileage days and tough workouts, and we don't feel that we're at the point of injury, but our legs just can't crank it up. This is what we look for during marathon training to build fitness. And this is where we go to Sunday, fast forward 48 hours, and I might do a fatigue chicken workout where I just try to hold marathon pace for as long as I can. That could be a little bit of a fun video and a fun workout. Let's see how long can I hold marathon pace in whatever shoe I pick. But this is what we look for during marathon training. My legs are completely fatigued today. This shoe is not giving me any assistance to make it easier to run. So if that's what you're looking for, it's a good shoe. I would argue that the Brooks Hyperion 2 is a much better shoe, especially for my running style. It's a similar stack, even lighter than this though, 50 grams lighter than this. And it feels better for my running style where I'm running with a lot of power. I'm not light on my feet. And the Adios 9 is gonna come into the conversation. I wish I got my water. Adios 9 is gonna come into the conversation in September and be in the same category as well. And I don't know the price off my top of my head for that shoe, but I don't think it's gonna be 180. Maybe it is gonna be 180. I doubt it. So question number 2, how does it do versus everything else in the category? It looks better than any of those shoes. Hoka's designs are again pretty good too, but Nike stands for something. It still means something to me. It's 100% dad drip, Supwell certified swag. The performance is solid. I'm gonna do a long run or a high mileage day test in it, but the value is not there. The value is not there at 180. And so the last question, number 3, how does it do versus everything else on the market? And this is where the value does come into play. Like we were talking about, up there, when you start to think about not just the performance shoes, but some of the other shoes that are designed with swag in mind. Bro, these are crispy. This is like an art piece. I have another pair of these that I've completely beaten into the ground. The white, the launch colorway was white with the navy stripe. I don't know if I'm gonna ever wear these. These have it's almost a gum sole, but it's gray. This just looks so good. I might still have to put them in a box. And this was my first shoe that I ever reviewed on YouTube, not this one, the white and blue. So we're gonna have to do a Tracksmith Elliott Runner revisit soon. But if you are comparing these two, that's where the value comes into play. If you're gonna compare, hold on, I have to put my Tracksmith back very carefully. And someone's walking around with a fishing rod. Stick. And if you're comparing this to another shoe you might buy from Nike, like the Kill Shot, and look at this. This is the shoe that I was actually wearing in the hospital when Mason was born 5 years ago. Little boys talking about I don't run in low stack. I was putting in the work in the delivery room in some low stack. Talk about flexibility here. Look at that, bang. So if you're gonna compare these two Nike shoes, much more comfortable in the Pegasus. If you're gonna Pegasus Plus, if you're gonna compare this to the standard Pegasus, much more comfortable. If you're gonna compare this to something like the Clifton 9, I also think this is more comfortable. If you're gonna compare this to something like the Cloud Monster, this might be a little bit more comfortable. At least the foam itself is better and bouncier. So if you are looking for a running shoe and evaluating a comfortable shoe from Nike or a performance-oriented shoe that you can wear with a nice chunky hoodie or with some cute Lululemon yoga pants or with a nice little golf polo from Vineyard Vines, if that's your frame for purchasing a running shoe and you occasionally want to put some miles in it, this is going to be solid, and it's probably not going to make a big difference to you whether you're paying $160 for a Stan Smith or $180 for a Peg Plus. But my primary frame on this channel is performance. The performance for $180 is not there. If this were $160, it would be a little bit of a better buy. It's a solid shoe. It did not blow me away. It does live up to its intended purpose. I wish Nike would put a little bit more attention to detail and try to compete with the category leaders like the Hyperion 2s and the SL2s and the Rebel V4s and the Mach 6s, because this product is not there. They need to drop the weight. The foam is solid. I think they could even make it a little bit denser, because for me and my style of running, it feels like it still has that ZoomX compression too much, and I still think Cushwan is their best training foam. But it's a solid shoe. It's a solid new entry into the market. I know they're reaching back into the annals of history. How many times can I say that in 1 week? Reaching back into the annals of history for this, but they also are offering something new that was missing from their lineup in 2024 and missing since they axed the Epic React. So Epic React is probably even still a better shoe than this. Even comparing that shoe in 2024 to this shoe, I really liked that shoe when I ran the marathon in it earlier this year. So what I'm trying to say is I'm excited for the Turbo or the Plus V2. I'm excited to see what they do with this shoe next. I hope someone from Nike watches this video. That would be nice. If they drop the price to $160, that would be nice. And also when the shoe does inevitably go on sale for $120, $110, it's gonna be an awesome buy. It's still not gonna be as good performance-wise as those other shoes. But once we see the price go down, as Nike is wont to do, it's gonna be a great buy. So I like this shoe. I want to do more testing. It's not cracking the top 3 after this first run, but it is just a first run review, so stay tuned for more miles. Thank you guys for sticking with me through the highs and the lows of Nike week. It is a beautiful Friday. I will see you tomorrow for some Saturday morning ASMR. Bro, I might have to mess around, run a 27-mile long run in the kill shots. Get the barefoot bullies off my back. Let them know. This thing is clean too. Look at that, lean, mean, clean. Pull up like I'm Roger Federer. Pull up like I'm Jane Austen. That's not a tennis player, that's an author. I don't really know any tennis players. Hold on, serious one more thing right now. I know I'm popping out with a lot of shoes, just left and right, bang, bang, bang. But at an $180 price point, we start getting into speed training shoes with serious technology, like the Asics Magic Speed 4. This is $170. You have that carbon plate. It's mostly this softer training foam that was a little bit mushy for me at first, but then this shoe became one of my favorite, if not favorite, plated speed training shoes because it's light, it's fast, and then it has a little pucker race foam. So that's $180. And then bumping up to $200, you have a shoe that also has the race foam in here. It's so much better than the Pegasus Plus, and it's trying to offer a little bit of that elevated everyday training experience. It's soft, it's bouncy. This is a New Balance Balos, $20 more MSRP. And then of course I talked about this earlier, but $160, again, more technology in here. You got the carbon plate, you got the full version of the race foam. I didn't feel like I was bottoming this one out, and this is $160, the Puma Deviate Nitro 3. So just some more options in the same neighborhood. The Pegasus Plus is overpriced, is my point. And if you are evaluating shoes based on performance, you can get more technology at a lower cost in shoes like the Magic Speed 4 and the Deviate Nitro 3. And if you don't want a plate, then go for any of those other $140 shoes that I've been going on and on about. Mach 6, SL2, Hyperion 2. There was one more. Rebel V4. There you go. See you tomorrow. And also, boom, one more. I had to hit him with it. $150, $30 cheaper than Nike Pegasus Plus. 100% of the real PIBA. This would be the head-to-head with the Pegasus Plus, lighter than the Spectre 2. This is the Cyclone 2. If you want that soft, almost ZoomX-y feel in a super lightweight package, this thing is a stingray. I think it comes in at around 210 in my size. Then you have this guy. So there's just so many options that are eating Nike's lunch when it comes to performance. I want Nike to say, no. They need to have their Tampa Bay Tom Brady moment. They need to come back swinging with some heat. More performance at a competitive price point. That's what I want out of 2025 Nike. None of this overpriced, okay tech. I love the design, but come on. I want to rip in some Nikes. I need the Nikes on my feet. R.I.P. Mac Miller. All right, last one more thing. Pull up with the Johannes Sebastian Bach playing in the background. This is the recovery lunch. We went total bro lunch mode. So white rice with the baked roasted broccoli. I chopped it myself. A little salt and pepper, a little olive oil. I made the rice myself. I didn't burn it that badly. And then we have the vegan meatballs from Aldi. And then I'm about to sauce it up with the very, very teriyaki, a little bit of flavor. This is like the bro science, the bro diet lunch. Putting in the work at the 9 to 5. This is how we're going to refuel before we bang a little Saturday ASMR miles tomorrow. All right, I'll see you then.